Here.
Claudio Bassano.
Here.
Matt Blanchett. Ken Cleveland. Ken Jackson.
Here.
Blaze Messenger.
Here.
John Post.
Here.
Heather Jacobs. Here. Jessica Lamb. Here. Rosanna Scott Sims. And Ron Rickey. Emily Fuentes. Here. Chris Archer. And Joe Black.
All right, thank you. I'll take a motion to approve the agenda.
So move.
Second.
John, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, next I'll take a motion to, or I hope you all received and reviewed the April 23rd meeting minutes. Do you have any edits? All right, I'll take a motion to approve the April 23rd meeting minutes.
So moved.
Thank you, Ken.
Second.
Thank you, Blaze.
Deja vu here.
You can have the next.
Okay.
All those in favor?
It depends.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Anyone abstaining?
I'll abstain. I wasn't here for that.
Okay, Claudio abstaining. All right, thank you. Motion carries. For public comments, we did receive a public comment in advance of the referendum, just asking for information about solar. So we sent them the solar FAQ that Heather put together from the website. So we were able to answer that question. And then we have been receiving a few questions about like materials in the school. So Rosanna sent me with some remarks. So I will just address that in those remarks. There was no other public comments in the inbox, and I do not see any public here, so can move on. I will move on to chairperson's comments. Rosanna sent me some minutes here, so I will just read through them. This past few weeks have been filled with much anticipation waiting for last night's referendum. I'm happy to announce that the majority of citizens who voted yesterday agreed to expand the scope of the school project to include the addition of solar panels. As of this evening, we'll proceed with our efforts to complete the interconnect study with Eversource, which will be an important piece of information to determine what the solar panel plan will be for the school. Though we did get approval to put solar panels on the school, we do not have agreement if we will purchase versus lease the panels. The interconnect study plays a factor in this decision. Once we get potential costs from Eversource, which logic dictates should be minimal, we can then go back to the town with our purchase proposal and hopefully get their buy-in to move forward with it. Last night, Planning and Zoning was supposed to meet to review the new shed and the new digital sign plans. Due to an administrative error, the board was unable to review the site applications. Upon further questioning, I was made aware that we will most likely have to go to a special town hearing on both matters, even though this possibility was never brought forward to the committee until yesterday. Once again, I'm disappointed with the communication from the town. Both the shed and the sign have been on our agenda for months, and we did not hear about the additional bureaucratic delay until yesterday. I expressed my concern to people on the board and to Stu Popper that the delay could impact our ability to store the gas-powered equipment when they are removed for teardown of the old school. There will be additional costs to temporarily house this equipment until the shed can be installed. The potential cost increases did not yield any urgency on their part, so once again we are in a holding pattern waiting for the town. Lastly, we've been getting an increased amount of requests to take building materials, equipment, and landscaping from the old school. If anyone in this committee gets such a request, please let them know that due to many concerns, such as safety, schedule, and cost, we cannot entertain them. That is all I have for this evening. Thank you, Rosanna. Any further comments?
Is that the official response? Like regarding
According-
asking for things?
according-
I've had people asking about flowers and plants. Can they come and take them?
Yes, according to Rosanna, that is the response at this time.
No. Just want to be clear.
Yep, no, it's good. All right, we will move on. Communications Subcommittee report, our newsletter went out today, just our general monthly newsletter, and the Town Council report and Board of Education reports went out earlier this week. Rosanna and I are still discussing kind of just some high-level plans and logistics for what the ribbon cutting / open house would be and how to coordinate that potentially with the PTO, but we also know the PTO is currently very busy with the last bell ceremony, so we're still working through that. Design Subcommittee. No report? Okay, no report. Perkins Eastman.
Good evening, everyone. I have a very short presentation tonight. So we just have our architect's field report and a very quick PV update since the referendum passed last night. So Perkins Eastman's been out site on the 24th. We'll be going out again this week. We're going to try to ramp up the number of site visits that assist Newfield in getting through any last minute coordination issues that keep the project moving towards completion. Our consultants are also been visiting site. Richter Segan went out the 24th and CES was out on the 25th. We're into closeout submittals and a couple of RFIs here and there still. And we'll be starting punch listing shortly, waiting for Newfield to let us know when they're ready for us to start punch listing certain areas. And just some site photos. Since the last time I saw pictures, we have glass in the front entry. We have the logo on the back of the building, which looks great. Glass at the cafeteria. Amphitheaters going in. Just a shot of the bus canopy. And then a shot of the central admin from the, is that the east side? Thank you. And then some shots of the interior. Everything's starting to look more and more finished as every week goes by. Shot of Main Street. You can see the ceiling grid is starting to go in, the ceiling clouds. Here's another shot looking back the other way. And then the ceiling in the auditorium's starting to go in. This is as the 24th. It's probably almost done by now.
I got 2 coats of paint.
And then
I want to talk about the color.
entry to the gym, so you can see the red of the portal of the gym going through the brick. And this is a shot. I believe this is of one of the music rooms. I'm not sure which one though. Any questions on our report?
Can you just send me this presentation? I
Yes.
don't know if I'm on that
And
list.
I think I owe you the one from the week I was on vacation too.
Okay, great, thank you. Yeah, because
So-
I just put some of these pictures up on social, which has been helpful.
Okay.
So what does CES do when they come out for this last time? What do they just check out everything? Just
Yes,
do
they-
testing?
Field inspections, yeah.
Yeah.
They don't. I don't think they do any testing, but they're just doing observation.
Okay. Just curious.
All right, so PV referendum passed last night. So my understanding of the next steps is we need the town to sign the application, and we need the $500 application fee that will go to Eversource with our documents for their review. And then we'll get comments and make any revisions and adjustments based on that. And we'll get the understanding of if there's any grid upgrades that are required. I will have a further update next time. I didn't have enough time to get CES to weigh in on more detail than this. But if we're going with a direct purchase, I know there's some question if it's going to be a PPA or not. If we go with direct purchase, we'll then finalize the CDs for the PCR, and it'll be the same process as we did with the building and the FF&E. We'll need Board of Ed and Building Committee approval. Go to the PCR. These are all to be determined as to when the dates are. Then we'll issue bid documents to Newfield, and then that'll go out to bid through Newfield.
Claudia?
If we purchase it, we get a 50% reimbursement. If we go to a PPA, we get 0 reimbursement, correct?
That's what I'm gonna confirm with the state, but I believe that is my understanding. If the town decides to rent, it's not reimbursable by the state.
Yeah, I
There's
think
no
so.
point in going to CDs or anything.
Right.
There will be no reimbursement. If the town decides that it will be purchased, then the the state has a reimbursement towards the project.
At that point, you'll be just going right to a vendor and purchasing direct. I don't know if you have to, what any procurement is involved with a PPA, so.
Yeah, so we'll see what the town says. Do you have the action to reach out to the town to get them to sign that application, or has that been done?
I'll follow up with Jack on
Yeah.
the last email that went
Okay.
back and forth. I was copied with Jack, and I believe Rosanna was advised that once the referendum passed, then they could talk about signing the application. So
Okay.
just be a referendum passed. Can you sign the application?
Okay, great, yeah.
And
So
I've
we can
reached-
keep that moving.
I reached out to CES to see what the process is for getting the application fee, if it's a direct or if it's a check, if they pick it up, drop it off. So I'm not sure about any of that process, so looking to get that from them.
Okay.
Sorry, why wouldn't I don't know, Perkins or CES pay for it and then bill us back?
I was
Does it
gonna
need to
suggest
be
that, too.
submitted
Yeah.
by the?
Yeah, I was going to suggest maybe see if PA had still, I believe there was in the PV, isn't there like a attending of meetings kind of line that we might be able to touch for $500?
Yes.
Have you cut the check, mail it,
Okay.
you'll get the application too, so I think
Right.
that would be easier.
Okay, I could see if we could do it that way, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, probably be faster.
Yes.
Okay.
What's up?
Okay.
And then just a schedule, so I took the schedule based on the referendum passing last night, and I essentially just pushed everything out. We're gonna have to meet with Arcadis and Newfield and CES and get into the details. But just basically pushing everything out from where we were back in January. We are now looking at, if we have 3 months of Eversource review, that's indeterminate. I'm not sure how long it's going to take them to review the application and go through their process. A month of wrapping up documents, front end spec, all that, project manual, get approval to go to the state, figuring at least 6 weeks for their review. Based on past reviews, it's been sometimes longer than that. Get approval to go to bid, do the bidding process of 4 weeks, and then approval of bids by the building committee. We'd be into December for install. So after talking to Chris briefly, installing PV in the winter months would be difficult, so likely the start of install at this point would be, we're looking at March right now. Best
How
case
long
scenario.
how long does it take to get the equipment and the panels once the bids are approved?
Not sure.
There's,
And
is
that's
there a
some of the
lead time
questions
built into that?
That's some of the questions I'm asking for CES to start the detail.
Okay.
Through the schedule, it's showing a 3-month procurement period before we even get into it.
Okay.
That's what I'm seeing. You got a lag there, you know?
Yeah, I have a lag from when we get approval of bids to start of install, just because it's being winter, so that might
But
procurement.
that would also be like, that's what I'm asking. Is it because of the winter or is it because of lead time? And is the
It-
lead time longer than the winter period
I'm
potentially?
Not sure,
So that could get pushed out further.
potentially.
Okay.
So once we get going again, I could get more of those details from CES and maybe have them come to the next building committee meeting and ask more specific questions, or answer more specific questions.
Sounds like we need a decision whether it's gonna be a PPA or a purchase, because if it's a PPA, it'll come off of Perkins' hands.
Yeah, but I don't think the town wants to make that decision until after the Eversource study, based off of Rosanna's comments. So,
Can I ask, did the referendum state that the state would reimburse for these solar panels? No, it
No.
didn't make any mention of that?
I don't think it did.
Okay.
no.
But that's how it was explained to the Board of Finance.
Mhm.
When we attended the meeting with the Board of Finance back,
Yeah.
conversation that centered around what is the cost for the PPV system?
Yeah.
And what is the final number that the town would be responsible for, which
Yes.
is 50%
Yes.
approximately of the cost of
The cost benefit
system,
analysis,
system,
yeah.
And then whatever the cost of the interconnection was. And that's,
Yeah.
there was conversation regarding bonding, how long, what was the actual cost to the town, if they bonded them 1.5
Mhm.
million or 1.2 million, what is the actual cost to the town to be paying for the interest on the bond?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, the referendum question was just about extending project scope. It doesn't like,
Didn't
right,
go
like
into the
ultimately we
details.
could decide not to do solar panels at all.
Right.
Right, so it
Yeah.
wasn't a financial,
Yeah, sorry I was a little late.
Question.
I'll look back at what Rosanna's updates were. But off the cuff, I don't know why the decision around rent versus buy can't be done in absence of other piece of information. I think you would still need Eversource to, potentially increase the capacity of the grid. I assume either way.
fair.
But yeah,
And Matt, under a PPA, we might be able to include the cost of the interconnection into the PPA, so it's spread out over years rather
Potentially,
than
yeah.
a lump sum.
I guess how it's paid for is.
Because if it's gonna cost $500,000 for the interconnection,
Mhm.
and we go to PPV, then that $500,000 is not reimbursable either.
Right, and it never was going to be, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
The interconnection.
the upgrades, if any, needed are outside the street or outside the property.
Outside, yeah.
Yeah.
But-
Okay.
Yeah, so my
But if you
understanding
rent,
was.
yeah, but if you rent, it's the entire, it's not just the interconnect, it's the interconnect and the equipment.
Mhm.
That's not reimbursable. But if you you purchase directly, at least you're getting the equipment 50% back versus
Yeah.
everything in total, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Alright.
that was the analysis that the town engineer wanted to undertake. Can you put that on your list to follow up and just,
Yes.
when you ask about the application, to just continue those conversations?
Of course.
As
And
well.
And I was just mentioning to Ron too, we're gonna follow up with one of our other project managers regarding the solar panels, what he has seen as lead time. We had a
Okay.
brief discussion on another project yesterday, and I believe he said it was a little bit long lead time. So
Mhm.
Ron's gonna follow up on that as well to have an answer for you guys.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Any further discussion? Joe, any further slides? Okay. Thank you. All right. Newfield,
Good evening.
good evening.
I wanted to start with this because the site is really starting to shape up right now. They've actually started putting plantings in the courtyard now. And this right here is the last section of concrete that needs to go in this area. And we're starting to come around the corner here now. This whole run up to about here is, we've done the subgrade and we're starting to put in the stone now. All around the backside here, this stuff is all going in right now. And then coming down the side right here, today I was out there in this area right here for this walkway is all based right now, ready to start forming. So we're actually coming down this way and then we're gonna start heading this way. So all that work is ongoing right now. I wanted to use this photo because it's a great shot. I'll show you some more photos in my presentation. You can go ahead and switch it if you'd like to. Thank you. I just wanted to say that it is starting to come together out there now, so.
Oh, you got it.
Yeah, I got it. All right, so May target activities, let's talk about that. For roofing, we're looking to complete everything, including the advance of trying to get a roof warranty by the middle of June. Masonry is at we've started the completion list, and as Joe had alluded to, we do out all of B1, B2 now, and we started the exterior. So we've started that process, and we're starting to go around and do that quality control aspect of making sure that everything's correct and complete. That includes the brick veneer and masonry. Carpentry, within the month of May, we're looking to complete all framing, drywall, and taping activities. The last area that I'm aware of right now is at the control booth of the auditorium for framing, drywall, taping areas. Plumbing, at this point, we're only installing plumbing fixtures. We're coming up on the chlorination of the domestic water lines, and then obviously the testing associated with that to make sure that those are clean and potable water can go through them. And then we're also firing up the hot water heaters in about 7 days. For mechanical, we're running through the final equipment checks and startups. We actually started running the air handling units starting on Monday. I felt the air coming out of them. They're continually going through each one of those rooftop mechanical units right now. Hopefully by the end of the week we'll be through all of our checks and ready to go. And on that same note, the testing and balancing agent came out to the job site today. He's going to start balancing and adjusting the mechanical units and water systems starting next week. For electrical, lighting installs continue. We're getting into all the finishes, switches, plates, devices, stuff of that nature. Installation of security cameras is upcoming here. I don't have a definitive date, but it will be in May here. And then obviously testing of access controls, stuff of that nature will be taking place in advance of the TCO that we're shooting for. Metal panels, they're going to be ongoing through the month of May with a that's what we're anticipating right now. And then as far as the storefront, aluminum storefront and curtain wall is concerned, we're working trims and caps around the exterior of the building, just finishing up, doing caulking, getting ready for punch list on those items. And then interior-wise, we're finishing up the same kinds of things. They're working through the bullet-resistant frames. We're working through aluminum doors, hardware, all of those things right now. And we're looking to get fairly near complete by the end of May. So, alternate one at the amphitheater. I'll show you photos in a moment, but we're in the final stages of pouring concrete around that. And our idea is that we're straight out from the courtyard, and then we're moving north, but we're also moving south as well to establish all that flat work and concrete work. General trades, they're ongoing with toilet accessories, mirrors, toilet partitions, screens, shades, all that stuff is ongoing in all parts of the building right now. And then life safety, that would be your fire alarm, security, access control. Those are the driving factors of us getting our TCO and allowing you guys to come into the building. And that's what we're going to be focusing on all the way through until getting you into the building, is making sure that everything's wrung out and everything's the way that it should be. Let's see. For construction progress, as I said, storm drainage structure, sanitary sewer, it's all at the south side now. We're working in front of the building in things that we couldn't get last summer. So now we're starting to get involved in that kind of stuff. And then tri-state materials testing, your third-party inspector has been on site ongoing to do compaction and concrete cylinders for your sidewalk work. And then obviously Freeman Companies is still monitoring your stormwater plan in accordance with whenever we have storms. As far as design progress is concerned, as Joe stated, we're working closely together. I appreciate that you're stepping up your site visits. That's critical at this moment in time. We're going to continue to work through the submittals, RFIs, whatever may come up here. SES has been on site multiple times now. That has to do with your envelope testing, which we'll complete with, we had 2 more tests on windows that we have to do. One's a retest and one is a final test. That will complete, which is basically the exterior wall envelope. And then, like I said, mid-June we're going to go for the roof, and then that will complete that envelope commissioning process. And right now, obviously, they're starting to work with the mechanical contractors and the testing and balancing agent to get through the final commissioning of the project here. And then Perkins Eastman, I had said for FFE technology, I believe Emily's going to talk more about that, so I'll kick that one. And then for Swezak, who is your structural inspector, Ron was able to give us some good news about potentially getting the sign-off letter by the end of the week, and that will be one of the stepping blocks to get that TCO as well. So, critical items, I left design changes on there as a critical item. Obviously, as we go through the final phases of this turnover to get you guys into the building, anything that we do design-wise, changing things, colors, sizes, any of that stuff is going to continue to get exponentially more expensive and could potentially add time to the project. So I just wanted to make sure that you guys are still aware of that. 2-week look-ahead schedule is in here. This is the roadmap to everything that I just went over. I'll allow you guys to peruse that on your own. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. So this is what I was talking about. It's not showing up here. These photos are old, but you can see right here. Here's your sidewalk coming in for all of the BOE area and coming around the north side here to connect back to your loading dock area. And you can actually see in the background there's the curb line for the back of your receiving area right there. Got a better picture of that in a minute here. There's your courtyard. With the TST on the bottom, that's your storm basin. That's all the bottom of TST soil that was prepped for the seed application, which actually occurred on Monday. As you can see, they're also out of the courtyard now. And once again, like I said, there's plantings all in here. So,
Chris, just curious, I haven't been by it. With the rain we've had over the last few days, do you see any standing water in the retention area?
yeah, the pond. That's a shot of the TST fully formed out, ready for seed, ready for plantings. There's your berms for erosion control. Came out really nice. This is the north side. This is that curb line that I was talking about for the loading and receiving area. You can see that they're starting to put out the stone now. And they're coming along all these elevations here with all the bollards, walks. Actually, I walked around here this morning. This was all poured right here. And they were actually done. I take it back. It was poured up to here. And these were poured around the doorway openings and everything. So they're going at a fever pace right now. That's just a shot of the BOE entrance here. I was just trying to show you that everything's coming around the corner and heading this way. Exterior-wise, metal panels are going on, trim around the doors. The doors themselves will be one of the last things we do so that we don't damage them coming in and out. And then here, like Joe said, all the snap trim is on now. This soffit right here is one of the last soffits that we got to do, and they've been framing that out, getting ready for the metal. And then once we get those metal panels in, we can go ahead and do the coping coming across the front edge here, as well as the front edge here, and this one too. We'll do it all in one shot. That's a good doorway opening is going to look like. You can see the soffit material here, window panel, and then obviously the glazing. We were able to finish your dark fiber run from the pole out to the MDF. The fiber is in the conduit now as well, and we're working through livening that up. It's all getting connected with MEP finishes right now. Plumbing, electrical, water, everything that gas, everything that you can think of is happening with this equipment right now. and then we'll call in the consultant to come and take a look. As you can see here, your MDF racks, all those terminations into the we did make it through getting the electrical in, as we had discussed, and we're ready to accept technology equipment when it comes.
You're waiting for the consultant to review the kitchen equipment?
Yes.
Do you have a date?
Not yet, but your head of kitchens is coming out next week to take a look. We've already coordinated time for that. No worries. The electrical room is complete, all online. Nothing really more to say about that. And your mechanical room, the only piece of equipment that I know of other than the water boilers, which are firing next week, is the irrigation pump, which is over here. He was out today, and we're looking to get that started up as well. Boilers, everything else that's in there is functional and working. So here's another shot of Main Street for you with the clouds. I was walking down through here. You got probably about 25% coverage of ceiling pads in there now that have all of your mechanicals, whether it be speakers, sprinkler heads, anything like that. All those tiles are now in these grids, and we're ready for final inspection, ready to attempt final inspection, I should say. Your wood doors and your hardware, they showed up on site. They're coming in waves. We're installing them as they come. I haven't seen any real issues with any of that yet. I thought this was a cool picture to show you what the floor is going to look like in the hallways. And that will obviously go right down the hallway with this pattern here. Here's your clouds. Like I said, this is an old picture because now all those are painted. So
That view is looking out from the stage.
yes, that's correct. Yep, and it was cool. I was in the gym today, and they were actually testing out the shades, the motorized shades along the north elevation. They all came down together. They all went up together.
I wonder how long that'll last.
That's a good. But it's that kind of stuff that's happening right now, is getting all those finishes in for you guys. Are there any questions?
I just have a site question. So when the central office folks move in June, right, what does the site look like? How are they going to get in and out? Where are they going to park? Is that all? Do you change the fencing around the site so there's just regular access to that? Okay.
Yeah, so I'm looking for a good picture. So we're going to be coming out with a site logistics plan. We're actually going to call for a meeting with Ann Cochiola, Enza, whoever needs to be there. We want to go through what the expectations are of what the building is going to be when you guys enter in June. We want to go through egress, access, exiting, emergency plans, the whole shooting match. But the idea right now, and I can show you a quick representation of this, is this sidewalk right here is going to serve as the main entry sidewalk. We're going to bring it down and out to the south parking lot. And all along this area right here will all be fenced in. Construction area here. You guys have whatever you need over here.
Okay. Yeah, I was curious because that's right smack dab in the middle of the whole site. So,
Yep,
yeah.
yep.
Okay.
We have a plan that we're working through right now. We just got to fine tweak it, and then we'll present. So,
Okay, thanks.
And obviously that will be for comment as well. So,
Okay.
Thank you.
any other questions? All right.
All right. Thank you, Chris.
All right, just
Ron?
some more follow-up. Next Tuesday, we have a follow-up meeting with the school and Newfield regarding the move management team, where they are, and the schedule of getting the rest of the stuff packed. And then with that, we're also looking at starting to bring in the furniture for the central admin and the school administration starting on June 9th for both contracts within Southco and Suburban. and that'll get us ready for the CAO for Saturday, the 14th move. So we're close. And like Chris had said about the technology, they have started to receive some of the pieces of the technology. The wireless access points have started to arrive, and I believe the monitors are in the warehouse right now, being stored off-site. So the consultant will be taking a look at those in the next couple days.
Moves are gonna be in there on 14th and 15th, 13th, 14th, 15th, moving the Board of Ed out.
Right. They said that they figured to move the BOE, they needed basically a morning to get them out of there.
Okay.
And
Are they going into the rest of the school to start emptying it on that weekend, or they're just taking care of Board of Ed?
they're gonna do the bulk of getting the BOE, and if we can get Ann over into the admin, we'll get those accomplished, and that's kind of what we want to be talking about next week to see how this is going to solidify.
I won't be here next week.
Right, and that's so
We're gonna have the Cromwell Police Department, Cromwell Fire Department, SWAT team in that building, doing training exercises on the school side of the building on that weekend also. Debbie Henley.
okay.
We'll just have to coordinate that when I come back.
All right. Yeah, we'll work through that, and if we're gonna get
Somebody tripping over each other, guys, don't.
No.
We're going down and somebody turns around the corner with a assault rifle.
Yeah, exactly. If this is gonna be like some of the other stuff I've seen, some of the training, they have some of the other weapons that they do use for training. But again, like I said, technology has started to arrive, and we're coordinating that with Newfield.
Ron, do you have everything you need for the planning and zoning and whatever they need from this administrative error?
Everything that planning and zoning, talking both with Stuart and Bruce, they have everything that they needed. So I was waiting, and I was ready to literally picking up the phone when Stuart called me and said, "Oh, there's been a snafu." So,
Okay.
so they said that it would be 2 weeks, and then yesterday afternoon, Rosanna had that email saying that we may have to have a public hearing. I don't know what that's about. Originally, it was supposed to be an administrative type thing.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
but I'll be following back up with both Stuart and Bruce.
Okay.
Okay, up next for your approval, Ron with Stephen and the IT consultant Pat Welch received an increase request that would apply to the middle school in the amount of $3,340. Would be for Fiber Optic Plus. As read in the description, this is to terminate the fiber ends in the new middle school MDF. Both the consultant and Stephen have reviewed what Net Services, and Chris, I believe you were part of that conversation too. Net Services and Fiber Optic Plus was had in their description to perform, and neither party had to terminate services in the fiber ends for the new middle school. So we need this to get done, and we are requesting your approval of $3,340 to increase our PO. Yep.
Emily's right. I did a analysis and I provided it to Ron that when we talked about the dark fiber and we talked about getting from the pole into the building, Fiber Optics Plus was there to do those connections at the pole, but they weren't there to do them in the MDF. And then when I looked at the what was that, Bulletin 4, which included that jumper conduit to get everything up and running, Net Services never carried that either. They actually expressly kept it out of there. When I talked to Ron and Jack, it came up to the fact that it makes more sense for Fiber Optics Plus to own that portal-to-portal on that fiber run than to have Net Services own the MDF side versus the pole side. So that's why I made the recommendation, and and Arcata supported that.
Okay. Does this cause any sort of delays, or it'll be done? Okay.
Normal course.
All right, any other questions? Do you have a motion?
So move.
Thank you, Ken.
Second.
Thank you, Ken. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries.
And lastly, for tonight, we have the invoices for approval. You see, we have materials testing for $6,443. A couple of the technology equipment invoices, as advised. We are getting the wireless apps, and our technology consultant is working with Atlantic Computing to make sure that they're delivered, that he is aware when they're coming in, and he can verify the slips. We have Newfield Construction for their monthly billings, and we have the commissioning services for a grand total of $3,064,112.41 for your approval.
Do you have a motion to approve this month's invoices?
So move.
Thank you, Ken. Second?
So-
Thank you, Ken. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
And that's it for tonight.
Quick question, where are we at with the materials testing, the tri-state PO?
That's what I was just talking to Ron about. Once this invoice is approved, we are all caught up, so I'll get a route tally and let him know where we stand for both the middle school and central admin. And I actually asked how much testing was still left, and he did advise we still have concrete and steel. So we could have that for the next meeting, Ken. And that wraps up our presentation for tonight.
And then will the next meeting cover the updated budgets
Yes.
through 5/1?
Yep, it will.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. All right, thank you. Any other comments, updates, announcements? Yes, Chris?
I just wanted to give a shout out to Welsh Communications. I'm glad that through Arcadis we were able to get that in for you guys, because that has been a valuable asset to this project. So I'm really happy that you guys did that, and you guys should be happy that you did it as well. Okay.
Thank you, Chris. Claudia?
At the last town council meeting, the Cromwell has appropriated 31,000 and change for the complete shed, including the base, the shed itself, electrical, and anything associated with that. And I'll be managing that project.
Okay, great, thank you. Any other comments?
And then I would just say, again, sorry, not maybe fully understanding Rosanna's open comments or what she's heard about for planning zoning, but as I understood it, and take this with a grain of salt, my understanding of the P&Z process is you submit an application for review at one meeting, they accept your application, and then schedule the hearing, which would not be like a special meeting in like town hall. It would just be at the next P&Z meeting, they would have an open hearing, and then they would approve it. That's just my layman's understanding of how the process goes, for what it's worth. But,
I did
yeah.
just text Rosanna. It says it's on. I texted Rosanna just now to just see, 'cause she was trying to expedite things because of their error. It's now pushed us behind 2 weeks. So she was trying to expedite and see if we could just schedule the public hearing all in one.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know where that landed. I know she's out of state this week, so maybe when she gets back, she can see if there's room to hurry things along a little bit.
Yeah, Heather, I'll be talking to Stuart and Bruce, but if I get an update, I'll both you and
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Okay. Anything else? All right, thank you. This meeting is adjourned at 7.